Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about Big Magic. If you guys don't already know, Big Magic is a book about how to be more creative, break through your blocks, and break through any fear you might have when it comes to living a creative lifestyle. The thing is, I went into reading Big Magic for creative purposes, but when I was reading it, I realized that this book has very spiritual lessons that could be applied if worded only slightly differently to just loving life and living life in the most beautiful way possible. The spiritual practice I'll be comparing Big Magic to is called Bhakti Yoga. And in Bhakti Yoga, you're trying to get liberation from suffering through being devoted to being mindful and loving every moment and everything in this life. Really quickly, before I go into the 5 lessons that I learned from Big Magic, I just want to give some context that I've been working on this channel and I've been so passionate about it, but sometimes I put so much pressure on my passion project that I don't feel like I'm enjoying it to the fullest extent. And so that's where Big Magic and Bhakti Yoga has come in to make me really love every moment of this process, not just, oh, I want this many subscribers and this many views, because really what these books and the Bhakti Yoga gets at is just loving every moment of life. And you'll hear about that through the 5 lessons learned. The first lesson that struck me was when in Big Magic, Gilbert said that you should love writing and creativity like a love affair. And I had actually heard that once before, but from a Bhakti person. A Bhakti teacher was teaching me that you should love God and love the earth and just love being alive as if you're having an affair and cheating on your husband. Yes, it's immoral to cheat on your husband, and I don't think anybody in the Bhakti world, and I don't think Liz Gilbert is saying that you should cheat on your husband with another person. What they're saying is cheat on them with the love that you have for creating or the love that you have for just life in general. So if you loved your writing or whatever your creative passion is, like an affair, you would find time to do it. A lot of people say, oh, I don't have time to be creative. But she mentioned, this person cheating on their husband, they'll go make out under the stairs and have sex or whatever for 5 minutes, and they'll still love every moment of it, and they won't care that it's rushed because it's just the time they have to do it, and they'll be so excited about it. And so she's saying you should feel the same way about your writing. You should do it when you can, and don't be sad that it's not enough. Just be so happy that you have these 5 minutes to write. And in the same way, there's lots of stories in Bhakti about people cheating on their husbands with Krishna, which is really weird. But I personally, and no offense to you if you believe in that and that you don't think that's weird, that's cool for you. For me, instead of thinking it as cheating on your husband with Krishna, I don't really think of Bhakti and Bhav as a deity. I see it as love in this world and just appreciation and being alive. So I just need to practice this more, but I want to be able to steal away moments in the day where I'm just sit in meditation and just think about how great it is to be alive and just being in love with that feeling of being thankful to the world and thankful to the earth. And that's what Bhav is. Bhav is just basically being in your heaven state here on earth. So I'm personally in my Bhav when I'm out on the lake or when I'm meditating and thinking about the blue sky meditation. I may make a whole video of this in the future, but basically I was learning about this through Headspace, that we all have this calm blue sky in our head where our minds can always be clear. Just like when you're in a plane, it could be a really cloudy day, but you go up in the plane and you're above the clouds, you're in the blue sky. The blue sky is always there. If the clouds are your thoughts, it doesn't matter how many thoughts are in your head, you still have this clear blue sky up there. And that's what I kind of think about, and that just gives me so much bliss. So I could steal away moments in my day and have a love affair with just that feeling and appreciation of being alive. Even though I can only be in that meditation for 10 minutes at a time, a few times a day, I can still live the rest of my day just in bliss that those 10 minutes happen that day, and just being so excited for the next 10 minutes of that to happen. And then that bliss is kind of seeped over into the rest of my life, even though I'm only purely in that meditation a a few times a day for 10 minutes at a time. So again, those are examples of having a love affair with writing and translating that to having a love affair with just life and loving life and just the meditative bliss that you could be in at all times. So the second insanely spiritual lesson from Big Magic is that there is no distinction between the sacred and the non-sacred. And this especially came out in her last chapter, I think called Divinity. And in it, she talked about how these dancers in Bali, they had these sacred temple dances that they would do in the temples. And that became so popular and tourists would come watch it that they decided that they should just start doing the dances on like hotel resorts instead of in the temple because it was too crowded. And then some Westerners just like didn't think that that was good taste. They were just like, you can't do your sacred dances here at a hotel. It's not sacred enough. You have to make new dances or something. So they're like, okay, we'll make new dances that like have like a similar style, but they're not ancient and they're not sacred. We don't use them for prayers in our temple. So we'll do those dances at the hotel resorts. So that's what they did. But then with time, the dancers enjoyed those dances so much and liked them so much that they're like, you know what, I want to do these dances in the temple and do a ritual with them because they're great dances. And so then there was really like no non-sacred dances and no sacred dances because the art of dancing was what was sacred. And just that there is no sacred and non-sacred. And Bhakti Yoga would agree the same thing. Everything in the world is Krishna. Everything in the world, it's not just this like person who looks like a man. That's Krishna. Krishna is just life and love and everything in this world. It's the ground. Like the floor of a bathroom is no more sacred than a monk's mala beads. Everything is equally sacred. And once you see that, you have reached moksha in bhakti, which is just like this, again, like liberation from suffering. And I think it's just like a good thing to know in life. Like a true bhakti doesn't care. Like getting hit, having a car crash is just as good as winning the lottery in the eyes of a true bhakti. Which I'm not saying I'm a true bhakti yet. I'm still a very young learning bhakti. But just like, it's just all life, all is sacred, all is good. And Liz Gilbert has the same to say about writing and art. No dance form is better or more sacred necessarily than another. You're writing. The big thing she's getting at is that like you should just write to write, and that don't be worried if it's valuable enough to other people. It's the act of writing in itself to her is a great act and a beautiful act. And no matter how you do it, you shouldn't be scared of it not being sacred enough because it's all sacred. It's all your thoughts. It's all creativity. The third lesson from Big Magic was the pure love for creativity. Liz Gilbert didn't write to make money or to get fame or for people to like her. She wrote because she loves writing. She even said that she never made it so that she would have to rely on her books for her money. Only after Eat, Pray, Love did she begin to, more rely on it for money just because there was such an abundance of it coming in. Before that, she was happy to bartend and happy to wait tables simply so she could just come home and write at the end of the day. This is just like how we need to see everything in the world. Like how we see bhakti is also like, you don't pray to God because you want God to do something for you. You just pray with gratitude because you're happy to be alive. You don't meditate so that you can be the smartest person in the world. You meditate because meditation feels good. The fourth crazy spiritual lesson in Big Magic is that she was really fighting the ego. She basically brings up every point of ego in this. Every point of fear that you'll have in creativity is because of your ego, which is just obviously so spiritual to be fighting the ego. But basically, Liz Gilbert is just saying, like, you don't do it so that the critics like you. You don't do it so that everybody likes you. She's basically brought up a lot of times how really people might like your book and people might hate your book, but they kind of forget about it really soon. kind of reminding you how small you are and how small your writing is, how small your ego is. One thing that Liz Gilbert kept saying throughout the book was just like, I wrote that last chapter completely wrong and published it wrong, but the weather didn't change, the world didn't fall apart because of that. In that same way, to be a really good bhakti and be a happy bhakti is to understand that you are just this one person on this earth, and this earth is such a small speck in the universe, and your problems aren't really that big of a deal. The fifth lesson for big magic is playfulness and joy. Liz Gilbert explains this playfulness through the contrast of the martyr and the trickster. I'll read some of the book to kind of explain this difference between the trickster and the martyr. The martyr says, I will sacrifice everything to fight this unwinnable war, even if it means being crushed to death under a wheel of torment. The trickster says, okay, you enjoyed that. As for me, I'll be over here in this corner running a successful little black market operation on the side of your unwinnable war. Martyr says, life is pain. Trickster says, life is interesting. Martyr says, the system is rigged against all that is good and sacred. The martyr says, there is no system. Everything is good and nothing is sacred. The martyr says, nobody will ever understand me. The trickster says, pick a card, any card. So, yeah, basically the martyr always ends up in a heap of broken glory, while the trickster trots off to enjoy another day. In the same way, Bhakti Yoga is really about lightness and playfulness too. Especially, this can be seen in kirtan, which is the act of singing devotional prayer. I love kirtan, and you basically just like jump around, singing to the gods or like whatever you believe in, just like this love for earth and this love for being alive. My favorite is the Hare Krishna song. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And just at all these festivals or whenever I'm at a kirtan doing it, you just kind of lose it, and it's just so fun, and I really am thinking about how much I love the world in those moments. At the very end, I'll put in this sound bit, or actually video bit, of Rana Swami, a really, really awesome guru, singing Hare Krishna. And he's not doing it quite in that as playful as a way, but when you see him sing it, you can just see his devotion and this like love for the world on his face when he sings it. And that's what I really love about kirtan. It's just so visceral and just so great, and it just really hits the soul. So I hope that you liked these 5 lessons, and I hope that it kind of introduced you to Bhakti in a cool way if you've never been introduced to it before. And it can also act as ways to break through creative blocks, as well as just life happiness blocks in general. If you like this video, you can subscribe and like this video if you want more people to see it. Also, feel free to share it with other people. Yeah, and if you have yourself actually made videos about big magic, I'm thinking about making like a big magic playlist, so let me know and I'll add it. All right, here will be the video of Rana Swami singing Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna